up, guys? It is time to start working on the DRZ. I'm honestly kind of shocked at the overwhelmingly positive response to the question, do you want to see me do a build on it? Because I've sort of already reviewed it, but I'm getting the sense things are like this sometimes, that the new DRZ is something that like the content creators and the journalists love to hate on, but that the general public is kind of excited about. I don't know. Definitely way more interested in this bike than I thought. I seriously thought I'm just doing this for myself, and if nobody watches, that's fine, but you all seem pretty interested in the new DRZ. So let's talk about mods. We're going to start the mods today. I've got a box of crap here, mostly from Rocky Mountain with some exceptions. Let me show you what I've got ready to put on it. I will tell you the gas tank is not here yet. They were back ordered, but I expect that any day. So we're going to start the process today, but I'm going to try really hard to not put on anything that I have to take off again to get to the gas tank. I think we're mostly okay with that. I ordered this universal windscreen from Tusk. I'm going to show it to you. And it, it's huge. It's definitely like something you put on a DR650. And I'm not thinking this will be a permanent addition, but it just bolts to the handlebar. So I thought it might be nice to have if there's a time when it's like I'm going on a ride, but I got to ride 3 or 4 hours to get there. I don't know. It's worth a shot. So I got one to try out. We're not putting that on the bike today. This is a Flexi Fender. Check this out. Ugh. Can you even see what I'm doing? No. It's like a 3D printed polymer that is like indestructible. Like, saw a video of a guy ran it over with his truck. It's funny because I ordered this based on Skitch on Wheels' video, and I'll link his channel because I pulled a bunch of stuff from him, actually. Inspiration. He was actually on the phone with Brian and Daryl working on his DRZ while my DRZ was in their shop. It's like, oh, that's pretty funny. But anyway, I saw this in his video. I was like, I'm ordering one of those, so I ordered one, and then 2 days later I got an email from the guy that runs this company that was like, hey, do you want a Fender? And I was like, too late, buddy, I got one already. So this is a tail tidy that should be pretty damn indestructible, and I'm pretty stoked to get it on there. It just uses all the stock lights, or in this case, I'll just swap my Cyclops lights over. So easy peasy. But that is interesting, unique. This could have all kinds of implications. Like, that's innovative if people start making parts out of this. Skid plate foam. I got the Precision motorcycle racks. This is the side. God, these things are so big. Yeah, I don't know. These may not be permanent. I hate the way they look. They make definitely smaller ones than this, but I was interested because the rear rack they have is the best one I've seen, and it's perfectly, you'll see it in a minute. It's actually sitting over there on the bike. I haven't attached it yet, but it fits the lines of the bike and looks really good, and these were their matching side racks. So I got these. So there's a pair of those. The Tusk skid plate, aluminum. You knew we were gonna go with the D-Flex Pro handguards. Went with white to match the front cowling. I don't know, is that or yellow, and I feel like there's enough yellow on that bike. Oh, and they sent me an oil change kit, including the Suzuki O-ring. So did you know that you can just put in your bike, your model, and they will just send you a kit with everything you need, including any O-rings, exact right size crush washers, and all of that? That is so much easier than trying to figure all that out and order it separately. You just go on their site, click, order it, and then you just reorder that same thing over and over. So that is super convenient. They're really smart with stuff like that. We're gonna start with, looks like mostly body mods today. I know there's a little bit of a wrinkle with the handguards because the handlebars are threaded. I'd like to keep some weights on there to keep the vibration down, whatever. We'll figure it out as we go. Just, let's put the bike on the stand and get it figured out. I used to think motorcycle lifts were dumb. Like pointless, like why would I spend that money? But oh my god, not having to like lay on the ground, game changer. And I'm just not like incredibly sore the whole next day. So if you're an old fat guy, this is a good investment. Harbor Freight, a few $100. Wait until they do like a generic 20 to 40% off coupon and just buy one at full price, because their sales are not usually that good as just using that coupon.
It took 4,000-pound Toyota FJ, which is 2 tons, and didn't phase it a bit to be able to unloosen this with an 8 Allen's wrench.
I like how it says Allen's wrench, like he borrowed it from Allen. That's my favorite. This isn't my wrench, it's Allen's wrench. Yeah, I'm not gonna put that together before I have to come back in and do the tape. That's a toolkit it comes with, by the way. Fortunately, I still have the one from my 2020 DRZ, which was much more extensive, and I've been using it on every bike since. Same old 2x4 seat. Seat concepts win. Max, hook me up. a lot easier to be coming from the non-exhaust side. Who knew? Alright, why am I doing it this way? I bought this damn thing. I should use it. That's a lot of bolts holding this damn fender on. And those are a different size than the one on top, because of course they are. I got these from Rocky Mountain. These are sick, like, because you can spin it. So while holding it, so you don't have to like adjust your grip. They're awesome. Now these two are holding that top fender on. That's an interesting design. I don't think I need it all the way off though. I think I can get it. License plate lights, screws, Phillips screw. Also, do you like my old lady glasses? Headlamp and reading glasses in one. Don't get old, it's stupid. Up close, eyesight, absolutely gone in the course of a year. From perfectly fine to I can't read my damn phone. It sucks. Apparently, that's normal in your mid-40s, and I held out longer than most, so go me. Didn't know how good I had it. Youth is wasted on the young. You know, I had that video up and I just didn't even watch it. I just started tearing into this. That's how I do things. You guys know. Look at that. Beauty. Well, unfortunately, I had to undo some of Brian's handiwork. But I took a picture, so I should be able to wire that right back up. Gotta unscrew this signal and we'll put them on the tail tidy and bolt it back up. I think that's pretty simple. Might watch the video real quick to make sure I know what the hell I'm doing, but it's pretty self-explanatory, really. You're reusing the rubber bushings for the tail light assembly and the one for the license plate light, which is funny because the whole thing is rubber, but so you're double rubber protected from vibration. And then it should just be a matter of sliding the lights in where they go and reusing the metal washer thing that was on the back of this, a little keeper on the license plate light. That's nice and snug. That's good. Let's put those screws back in. Don't forget the most important step once you tighten something down. That's not going anywhere. I want you to see the difference. Stock Flexi Fender. It's a lot less material back there. Hell, this is going to save me. It's not even a pound, but wouldn't that be funny if it was really heavy? That'd be awesome. What a cool way to save weight. Okay, now the tail light. Same drill. Cable through the hole in the middle, and then just put the 3 posts through the grommet that you carried over, and then we'll just put the screws back in the rear of those, and that'll be on there. So here it is set up and ready to go. That is significantly smaller, as I showed you, than this freaking thing. And all I gotta do is bolt it up with the 2 stock mounting positions, and then wire everything up, and I'll be good to go. Minimal extra effort because I have to figure out which of these is the right turn signal and which is the left. But that's a matter of just swapping them if I get it wrong. But I was just thinking out loud, like, these turn signals are already indestructible, and coupled with this indestructible, in fact guaranteed, says right on their website they'll replace it if you can break it. Those two together, there is not a stronger rear end setup for a dual sport out there, I don't think. The weak point is the factory components, because you could still smash this brake light, I guess. But it is going to bend and flex out of the way, so maybe it's not going to take that hard of an impact. I don't know. This is going to look good. I'm going to bolt it up, and then we'll worry about wiring. But it just goes right there. Bloop! Just like that. Not bad. Do any of these cables need to go up over? I'm going to guess no, based on how tightly this is going to clamp down. Definitely not straight. It's trying to make new threads. We don't want that. We don't want new threads. We want the old threads. They are great. They're our friends. We love them. We want them to stay exactly as they've always been. Yeah, see, if it goes in easy, you got it right. If it goes in bad, you're making new threads and you should stop. Learned that one the hard way too many times. That's why we're doing this by hand and not with the electric. Metal to metal, so Loctite good. Loctite good. Look at this. It's like, that is a lot of give. It's not gonna break, for sure. That's crazy. Well, I never. That's a new one for me. Couple considerations here if you do this. You are losing these 2 mounting points for your rear fender, so if you were planning on attaching anything directly to the fender, like with fender hooks, which I would not recommend because this is some of the flimsiest plastic I've ever seen on a bike. I tried it and it would not hold a rear rack, but just FYI. Also, I checked the rack, and the only thing that holds the rack on the top is a bolt right down into the subframe. So I should be good here. I just got to figure out how to keep these freaking cables in a good spot. I'll probably just zip tie them all up here in a bundle around the thing. That would be smartest. They're just kind of naked here because they were inside the tail and now they're not. So get them hooked up, and then yeah, there's room up on top, lots of room actually. So I'll probably zip tie it right here to the center piece there. Should be golden. I got these backwards and filmed it facing the other direction. So just know that if you hook this up, they're color coded. Left is red and right is black, which is the opposite. You should think red would be easier to remember. But they're actually coded in here, and if I just label them, I wouldn't have to worry about it. But you can see the turn signals work, running lights, obviously, and then I've got brakes too. See, which was the whole point. So now I can button this up. All right, so swap the plate over, and then we can move on to the rack. I'll swap the plate over later. It's not even a plate, it's a temp. I don't usually run them anyway. So this seems pretty straightforward. There's only a few bolts in the bag. I had to put everything back on, including the seat, except everything but the rear bolts for the seat. So just know. And if you're gonna get to your side panels, you'll have to take the side racks back off, but they're only 2 bolts, so it's not the end of the world. It is what it is. So we'll start with the rear rack. It actually goes on the inside, and then we'll put the side kit this side. Carriers on after that. But it's minimal hardware. I don't think I'm reusing anything that's stock. So for the top, and that is a very small bolt, I have concerns. It's a lot of work we're asking of this bolt. And the spacer which holds it up off the subframe. And then these 2 are replacements for your bolts on the side of your seat. I can't words. Although, I don't even think I'll use these. Actually, now that I think about it, I bet the longer ones in the rack kit are the ones I need. Okay, nope, I need a bolt for the back side of that. Interesting. There isn't one in the kit. Oh, it's probably the stock one, which is this. Okay, I'm glad I saved that. Yep, which is I'm pretty sure that's an eye-lock, so maybe we don't need the Loctite as much. Oh, I'm glad I didn't do this first. That would have been disappointing. Going back in trying to do the tail tidy. That's literally, then you put the 2 seat bolts back in, and then it's attached. That's, yeah. I don't even think it's fully supported by the subframe is my problem with it. I'm not an engineer, I'm sure it's fine, but it sure would be nice to see it anchored to this actual subframe with the square aluminum rather than a very flimsy piece right in the middle where all the weight is going to sit. So this hardware kit, yeah, 2 long ones, 4 bolts total. There's probably instructions, I don't know, I didn't look. It's usually pretty self-explanatory with a minimum of hardware like this. Smart enough to know I'm a terrible mechanic, not smart enough to read the directions. The duality of man. So minimal bulkage, I feel like. Protects your exhaust. More importantly, protects your luggage. But if you went down, this is also protecting the bike. Not that it really matters on a dual sport, but the hardware comes in 2 places, and I originally grabbed the wrong bolt, but here it is. It's easy to tell what goes where because it's a lot bigger on the bottom, like yay. And up here is the skinnier one, and you gotta put 2 spacers on it. Double kind of spacer dealy bobbers. Oh, well, it doesn't work if you don't put the washer on, dummy. This is a 20-minute install at best. You know what the hell you're doing. And that goes right into the seat post, so you gotta put your seat on first. Ugh, I hate going through the seat thing, because it's like, there's a grommet in here, there's a grommet on the other fairing, and it has to go through the seat. So like, if it's not lined up perfectly, but it's impossible to tell if that's why you're getting resistance, or if you're just cross-threading the crap out of the aluminum. I'm gonna run that for a while and see how I feel about it. Aesthetically, and this has nothing to do with the rack or the company that made it, I don't like it. It may be a thing that only goes on when I go on a long trip with a lot of luggage, just like the windscreen. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm gonna run it, I'm gonna send it for a little bit. I just see my leg getting caught under that. Anyway, I'm gonna put the other side on, but it's exactly the same, so I won't bore you with it. We're on to the skid plate. This should be pretty straightforward. I don't wanna speak too soon, but I hope it is. You just take the stock one off, such as it is, and this goes right up in there. It goes under that? It goes under the damn exhaust? I don't know how I feel about that. We'll see when we melt it up, but it actually comes with this foam tape, which is supposed to go where the inside of the skid plate rubs on the frame, but I actually got their skid plate foam, which I'm gonna put in there. This makes installation like slightly more difficult, but it's a massive difference. It depends on your skid plate, but sometimes you get a harmonic resonance with just the bare skid plate underneath, and the noise is unbearable while you're riding the motorcycle. So I always like to put this skid plate foam in there to get rid of that. And it just keeps like rocks and from getting down in there. So you can pull it out and clean it and whatever. So pretty easy to use and work with. So the first thing we're gonna do is cut that to fit this. It's almost exactly the right width, the skid plate foam, but I'm gonna trim it down and I'll show you what that looks like. It's not rocket science, because you can't see it, so it doesn't have to be pretty. I'm just gonna get some scissors and cut the edges and put some holes in it. Maybe taper it just a little at the top, because it needs to be tapered just a little bit at the top. Just like that. So I'm just gonna literally just poke holes in it. Probably a far more elegant way to do this, but I don't care. Is this the like official method? I don't know. I've never taken a class on putting a skid plate foam. This is just what I do. Gotta take the old skid plate off. It is not that. Don't loosen this one. You can tell because it's not holding the skid plate on. Only the ones that go through the skid plate have to come off. Otherwise, you're gonna make a big bad mistake. And there's another drain plug back here, which is also not through the skid plate. So it has two. And it looks like this skid plate accommodates those, which would be nice to not have to take this off. Anyway, that's your skid plate. That's your stock skid plate. Looks like a freaking loincloth. Not even. I've seen string bikinis with more protection than that. I will say this. I love Tusk. I love the Rocky Mountain stuff. It's always really good. Their hardware is often crap. And it's Allen keys, which they're rounded off so that if you hit something, theoretically it'll slide over it. But often these start to strip. And the second they do, replace them. Do not put them back in because you'll be out here with a Dremel trying to slice a gash in it that you can get a flathead screwdriver into. Just trust me. I love you, Tusk. I wish you'd spend 50 cents more on a little bit stronger hardware. Always the weak point for me. I'm still using it, so obviously it's not a deal breaker. How did I put the Loctite away? More importantly, where did I put the Loctite? I didn't put it away. No, it's back here. Space. Y'all are probably looking at like, idiot. This is pretty light, so I think I can hold it with one hand while I get the bolts started, but sometimes, like, when I'm doing a bigger, heavier skid plate, I'll put a jack under it. I'm gonna start one without Loctite, and then I'll pull it back out when the time comes. Yeah, and these go exactly where you just took the stock bolts out from. Once you get the first one in, it gets a lot easier. Okay, two things. One, there's a plastic skid plate piece on the other side. Take that off or it won't fit. Two, it is much easier to see and get that bottom piece lined up, the very back bolt from the other side. So I did that. Now I should be able to get the others going and then go back, pull that one out and put some Loctite on. Cautiously optimistic. You do have to push to compress the foam, so if they're not lining up exactly, it's because some assembly required. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Don't tighten everything. Obviously, if you haven't done this before. Never tighten everything. Get it all started first. Sometimes people are like, why do you put Loctite if you're going to take that off every time you do an oil change? And it's one, I just don't want it coming off between now and then. I'd rather break some Loctite. And two, theoretically, it almost never actually works out that way, but theoretically, I can change the oil in this without taking the skid plate off. I'm going to try once. If it's a disgusting mess, well, it's probably not worth it. Let's hope. A man can dream. These are already stripping. They'll be fine. I can get them out, but if this ends up being a take the skid plate off to change the oil situation, I'll have to replace that hardware. Handguards. I watched Swanky Cat's video. The Tusk setup doesn't like quickly and easily go into this as well as it has on some bikes I've put them on previously. Like the 390, I just reused the hardware from the factory. Literally just stuck it right through. It worked great. This is a little bit bigger threading inside the bars, so he was doing a lot of drilling and stuff. I'm hoping to avoid that. But there was no really any way to tell until I start tearing it apart. I also want to maintain these bar weights, but it's going to look stupid. Let's just see what we come up with. The other advantage to my new T-handle wrenches from Tusk, I really enjoy tripping over that, is this one's so beefy I could beat up an intruder with it. I almost said beat off, and that would not have been what I meant. You almost got me, but you didn't. This has a ton of Loctite in it, I know. Oh, I guess not. That was a lie. They forgot to do mine that day. It was Friday afternoon at the factory. That guy was like, screw the Loctite, bro. That is a fatty bolt. There's one fatty bolt. Look at that thing. Jeez. That's a fatty. That's a fatty bolt. Honestly, the bolt weighs as much as the weight. That was too easy, which means the rest of this is going to be hard. I'm going to pull that stuff out of the package and we'll see what we can do. So here's the trouble. Ideally, this bolt that comes with the handguard would just go right into this and screw in. Sometimes it does, that's amazing. Other times there's no threading in the bars and you just use this expanding bolt inside and that holds your handguards on. But this, throwing a hot dog down a hallway, that's not gonna work. And it's too small for the expanding bolt to go inside, even without the rubber on the outside. And the other thing, because you're thinking, just use the original bolt. Yeah, I considered it. Cool, but it just disappeared, so we can't use it. Okay, it's right in front of me. This ADHD is such a bitch. It's literally right here. The other problem is, this is the original bolt. It won't go through the hole. So I'm thinking the easiest solution is not my favorite solution, but it will work. And that's to drill this out so that this bolt will fit through. That's the only thing I'll have to modify. It's gonna weaken this, but yeah. I mean, if it snaps, it snaps. It's aluminum, it bends more than anything. And it'll be tightened down, so. I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm gonna try to drill this out, is what I'm gonna do. We'll see how that works. If not, I can always get another set of handguards. Or just buy the bark busters that are made for this. I think it's gonna work. I could tap that out, and that would be screwed in there. You tapping that? I'm tapping that. See, I gotta get a bigger drill bit. Look at this. It's not terrible. There's not as much material there as I'd like, but I think it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna bend this in while I'm up here, because I always have to, because these are not bespoke, they are generic, and so you always have to tweak the bar to make it fit. And it's almost always in exactly the same way, so we'll start with that, and if I need to fine tune it later, I will. It just needs to be bent out a little, generally. But it's just aluminum, so it's as easy as that. Word of advice on these bar clamps, they have a left and a right. It says so right on them. That one has an R on it. You can see that. And you need to get those correct because these fat bars taper down to non-fat bars at the ends. So you need it to be on the correct side, or else the taper, which is the clamps are supposed to account for slightly, will be in the wrong direction and they really won't fit. It's really hard to do things when things don't fit. You know what I'm saying? Or when you put them backwards like that. You can also tell because the Tusk bug will be on the outside. Okay, let's see if it's gonna line up. I think we're pretty good. Golden, not going anywhere. Good news is you always want to test this. A lot of times it'll rub on the throttle side, but there is enough extra bar here that I'm getting no problems. Plenty of movement, so well done, Suzuki. These plastics also have a right and a left, which duh, but like if you somehow manage to get that on upside down, I'd be really impressed. And these are just Phillips screws. And aluminum into aluminum, so don't go crazy. Tightening them down. Oh, no problem. Having trouble with your droid? Oh, no problem. I went with the white, like I said, because it matches this. I think there's enough yellow. I don't love yellow. And you can tell which one goes here because the lettering is right side up again. Oh yeah, that may not work. That may not work with that bar end on there. Or I have to loosen it and then put this on. Damn, I really like the look of that, but this has to come out to put this underneath it, or I have to trim it back. Which, actually, I'll just do that. Yeah, a little trim, no big deal. It's right on. Way to go. Probably got too much there, actually. Yeah, having that white on there is worth it. That's definitely worth the 2 seconds it took to cut that back. It looks cooler. So that's on there. I have two problems with this setup. One, obviously this is goofy. It's goofy looking, which is, you can't really see it if you're not looking for it, but I don't like that this sticks out. This will hit the ground first, and that's gonna give it a lot of leverage to snap that bolt off if the whole bike comes down on it. So I'm gonna ride it with this setup, and if it doesn't seem like these weights are helping a lot on the freeway or at highway speeds, I'm just gonna take them out and flush mount it, which will work. Just this is kind of goofy, but otherwise it worked out, and it's not as strong here at the connection point, but honestly there was quite a bit of material left, so I'm not as worried about that as I thought it was gonna be. And plenty of room for the lever, all good. So I'm gonna do the other side, but I'll bore. Nope, I'm gonna do the other side, but I'll save you that because it's exactly the same. And I think that's probably gonna do it for today. So that's everything out of that box. And then I've got tires I have to put on, which I may not even film. I hate putting tires on, but it's like, it's the same every time. So do you wanna watch me swear and hurt myself? Maybe you do, I don't know. If you wanna watch me swear and hurt myself, say in the comments, I wanna watch you swear and hurt yourself. And then the tank, but it's not here yet, and I may wait because I have to take off half of what I just put on to do that. So we'll see if the tank is gonna be an immediate or if it's gonna be wait till I'm taking a big trip and then put it on. Let me know what you think of the DRZ so far. Like I said, really happy to see the enthusiasm for it, and hope you guys are enjoying watching as much as I'm enjoying building, and I'm really looking forward to riding this. If you haven't yet, please consider using my affiliate links, particularly to Rocky Mountain. There's a ton of Tusk stuff in this video. I have a QR code, which I'll put up for you right here. If you just pull out your phone right now and focus on that, and then a link will pop up and you can go directly to Rocky Mountain, and anything you buy at that point, I get credit for whether you had a direct link to it or not. 50% of you are watching on your TVs just like me, because we're old. And so I thought that QR code might be helpful so you don't have to run to your computer. And I will link everything specifically in the description so that you can find it. So thanks to those of you that continue to use those links. It doesn't cost you any extra. You buy what you were gonna buy, I get a little commission, and you get to help support future dorky motorcycling content. And if you wanna really support dorky motorcycling content, the new merch store is up at dorkandtheroad.dashery.com, and a ton of cool designs, including the Army of Dorkness shirt that Eric made, and all the classics like dual sport riding, hiking but faster, the logos, everything. So if you need some fresh swag to rock this year on your adventures, check out dorkandtheroad.dashery.com. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate your support. I appreciate all of you. Please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.
Excellent!